In this section of the test, you will have an opportunity to demonstrate your ability to understand conversations and talks in English. There are 3 parts in this section with special directions for each part. Answer all the questions on the basis of what is stated or implied by the speakers in the recording. There will be time for you to read the instructions, and you will have a chance to check your work. The recording will be played once only. At the end of the test, you will be given 7 minutes to transfer your answers to an answer sheet. Now, turn to Part 1. Part 1. Directions. In this part, you will hear 8 short announcements or instructions. There is 1 question for each announcement or instruction. For each question, choose the right answer, A, B, C, or D. Then on the answer sheet, find the number of the question and fill in the space that corresponds to the letter of the answer that you have chosen. We are ready to start. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 8. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 8.
Number 1.
Brune Design announces a new line of products for the discriminating traveler, all beautifully designed, long-lasting, and ultra-lightweight. These include handsome briefcases, travel alarm clocks, electric travel irons, and powerful portable shortwave radios for the world traveler. Brune Design products are available at fine stores throughout Europe, North America, and Asia.
Number 2.
Everyone knows that by the time you read something in a monthly or weekly business magazine, it is already old news. International business situations change from day to day. Now, Business Day, the only major daily business magazine, helps you stay current with the unfolding world of business every day, Monday through Friday. If you subscribe today, we will send you our new International Restaurant Guide at no additional charge. And why not get a copy for your co-workers? You can save $3 on each additional gift subscription.
Number 3.
This is Don Beeson of Beeson & Sitwell Architectural Associates. It's now 2:30 p.m. I will be out of the office for the rest of the afternoon, and I won't be returning until tomorrow at 9 a.m. If you need to speak with me this afternoon, please leave a message on my voicemail. I'll be checking my voicemail and returning calls from my home. If you have an urgent problem, you can call my partner, Robin Sitwell, at 320-1631. Have a great day.
Number 4.
Welcome to radio station WKYO's show, Garden Spot. This is your host, Peter Brooks. This time of year is a good time to talk about harvesting your garden vegetables. And today, I have a few hints for you. For example, did you know that you should always pick corn in the morning when it's cool? That's because the afternoon heat turns the sugar in the corn to starch and spoils the taste. And did you know that the longer you leave peppers on the vine, the more vitamin C they contain? We'll be back in a moment with more harvesting hints. And a little later, Professor Gail Mueller, an expert on plant parasites, will be dropping by the studio to chat with us. But first, this commercial message from our sponsor, the Colony Seed Company.
Number 5.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present the award for Employee of the Month to Elizabeth Bryce from the Shipping Department. She not only received top evaluations from her supervisor, she also submitted a suggestion that could save the company thousands of dollars a year in shipping costs. Besides a small bonus in next week's paycheck, Ms. Bryce gets a reserved parking place for a month, the one right next to the CEO's spot. She also becomes eligible for the Employee of the Year award. And as you know, the Employee of the Year wins a new car.
Number 6.
When I got to work this morning, the security system had been turned off.
Really? That's strange.
That's what I thought, too.
Number 7.
It's going to be another warm day.
Of course. You know, I miss living somewhere that has 4 seasons.
Me too. I especially miss those cool, brisk autumn mornings.
Number 8.
I'm sorry, Ms. Bauer is at a sales meeting.
I see. Will it last much longer?
Probably not. Why don't you get yourself some coffee or tea and have a seat over there?
This is the end of part 1. Now turn to part 2. Part 2. Questions 9 to 20. In this part, you will hear 3 conversations. The conversations will not be repeated. There are 4 questions for each conversation. For each question, choose the right answer. A, B, C, or D. We are ready to start. First, you have some time to look at questions 9 to 12.
Good afternoon, Dreamtime Travel. How can I help you?
Oh, hello. I'm interested in the holidays you offer along the coast near here.
Yes, we operate several tours up the coast. Where in particular did you want to go?
Well, I like the sound of the holiday that mentioned Wales. Was it, whale watching?
Oh, that's our whale watch experience. It's very popular, and it's based in a lovely little town with nice beaches.
Oh, right. And how long does it last?
It's 2 days. That includes 4 hours travel time each way from here.
Good. I don't want to be away any longer than that. So, is that by coach?
Actually, it's by minibus. We like to keep those tours small and personal, so we don't take a whole coachload of people. In fact, we only take up to 15 people on this tour, although we do run it with just 12 or 13.
Oh, right. So, do you run these tours often?
Well, it depends on the time of year. Of course, in peak times, like the summer holidays, we do them every weekend, but at the moment, it's usually once a month at most.
And when is the next one going?
Let me see. There's one in 3 weeks' time, which is April the 18th, and then we don't have another one until June the 2nd.
All right. And is April a good time to go?
Pretty good, though the really good time is later in the year. I have to say, though, that the whale sighting is only one of the many things offered.
Really?
Yes, the hotel itself where you stay has great facilities. It's called the Palisades.
The Paris what?
No, it's actually the Palisades. Pallilsades. It's right on the main beach there.
Oh, I see.
All of the rooms have nice views, and the food is really good there too.
Oh, right.
Questions 13 to 16. First, you have some time to look at questions 13 to 16.
And what about the other things, that are included in the price?
Oh, there are lots of things. If you don't want to do the whale watch cruise, your guide will take anyone who is interested either on a bushwalk through the national park near the hotel, and there's no extra charge for that, or on a fishing trip. That's an extra $12, I think. And there's also a reptile park in town. That costs more or less the same.
No, I think I'd prefer whales to snakes.
Yeah. And if you just want to relax, you're free to sit by the hotel pool or go down the beach. Oh, and they also have tennis courts at the hotel, but you have to pay for those by the hour. But there are table tennis tables downstairs, and they're part of the accommodation package. Just speak to your guide.
Well, that sounds good. So how much is the basic tour price?
At this time of year, it's usually around $300, but let me check. It's actually $280.
And the next tour, are there any places on that one?
How many people is it for?
There are 2 of us.
Yes, that should be fine. Can I just mention that we require all bookings to be made at least 14 days before you travel to avoid cancellations of tours? And if you cancel within 7 days of departure, you will have to pay 50% of your total booking.
Okay.
And you also need to pay a 20% deposit at the time of booking.
Can I pay that by credit card?
Yes, you can.
All right, what I'll do is I'll talk to my partner and get back to you.
Fine. So I'll make a provisional booking, shall I? 2 for the whale watch experience. Let me issue you with a customer reference number for when you call back. Do you have a pen?
Yes.
OK. It's 39745T. That's T for Tango. When you call back, ask to speak to the tour manager. That's me, Tracy.
Fine, I will.
Questions 17 to 20. First, you have some time to look at questions 17 to 20.
Hello. Can I come in?
Oh, yes, come in. How can I help you?
I was looking for the economics office. I've been all over the arts faculty building looking for it, but I could only find the School of Accounting and Economic History. Is this the right place?
Yes, this is the School of Economics.
Oh, good. I'm a new student, and I was wondering if someone could give me some information.
Well, I might be able to help. I lecture on that program. What do you need to know?
Well, quite a few things, actually. Firstly, how many lectures a week do I have to attend?
Well, the Economics 1 course is a double unit. So there are 2 lectures a week and 1 tutorial.
Oh.
The lectures are scheduled for Tuesday and Thursday.
What time?
Let me see. You know, this information is all in the handout, which you should have received yesterday at the orientation meeting.
Oh, was there a meeting yesterday? I didn't know about that. No one mentioned...
Yes, there was. But never mind. Now, lectures are at 4 in the afternoon.
Oh, 4's a bit late. I've got a part-time job that starts at 4:30.
Well, you can't be in 2 places at once, can you? And attendance at lectures is necessary. We expect at least 90% attendance at this university, you know.
90%? That's high. Do they enforce that rule?
Yes, we do. We're pretty strict about it, actually.
And what times have been set down for the tutorials? Do you have that information?
That's a very well-attended course, so there's a number of tutorial times. Monday, Wednesday and Friday, all at 9 o'clock. Yours will be allocated at the first lecture.
Can't I choose the time?
Maybe, maybe not. You'll have to talk to the lecturer on the course. Dr. Roberts is his name.
Oh, okay.
This is the end of Part 2. Now turn to Part 3. Questions 21 to 25. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25.
My name's Dan Pearman, and I'd like to talk about the work of Pedal Power, a small charity based mainly in the UK. I'll be giving our contact details at the end, if anyone would like to find out more about how to support us. But first, how the charity began. I got the idea of exporting bicycles to developing countries while I was in Ecuador. I went there in 1993, just after graduating from university. After 3 years of studying, I wanted adventure. I loved travelling, so I decided to join a voluntary organisation and was sent to Ecuador to carry out land surveys. The project came to an end after 5 years, and when I returned to the UK in 1998, I started planning Pedal Power. Where I lived in Ecuador was a very rural area. My neighbour had the only bicycle in the village, whereas everyone else walked everywhere. My neighbour's business was unusually successful, and for years I couldn't understand why. Then I realised having a bike meant he could get where he wanted to go without much trouble. Other local carpenters could only accept jobs in a 3-kilometre radius, so no matter how skilled they were, They could never do as many jobs as my neighbour. At Pedal Power, we collect second-hand bikes in the UK and send them to some of the poorest regions in the world. When we distribute bikes overseas, we don't give them away for free. We'd like to, but long-term that doesn't really help the local economy. The demand for bikes is enormous, which makes them very expensive locally. So we sell them for 5% of the normal price. But in order to continue operating, we need to have a constant supply of bikes which we send out every 6 months. One example of a town that's received bicycles from Pedal Power is Rivas. It was the first place I sent a full container of bicycles to. Most people there now own a bicycle. The local economy has developed so much you wouldn't recognise it as the same place. In fact, there are more bikes than on the streets of Amsterdam, if you've ever been there. But Pedal Power still needs your help. You may have read about some of our recent problems in the British media. In August 2000, we simply ran out of money. We had containers of bikes ready to send, but no money to pay the bills. It was a terrible situation. We managed to ensure the bikes went out on time, but the other problems carried on for several months.
Questions 26 to 30. First, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30.
Good afternoon. I'm Paula Bundle, and I am giving you the lectures on environmental noise this term. Today, we're going to look into the effects of noise on a planned housing estate in a particularly difficult part of the new Manchester Park area. This site is not as bad as some I have researched in the past. The Blacktown Airport is closed from 6 p.m. to 7 a.m, and this is a great advantage to the site. The only noise after dark is from the highway, and the traffic is somewhat reduced between 7:30 p.m. and 5:30 a.m. So the people most affected by the noise will be, I expect, housewives. By the time most of the students and workers have arrived back home in the evening during the week, the noise will have abated to a fairly large extent. The weekends are still a problem, of course, but the traffic is certainly reduced on Saturdays to a large extent, and even more so on Sundays. Of course, modifications to houses will be necessary at a site like this, and they come at a significant cost to the developer and home buyer. The modifications I'm about to outline will add about $25,000 to the price of a newly built house. That will still mean a cheaper house than in a less noisy and more desirable area. A bit of background would not go astray. I understand that you are all familiar with the proposed development site at Manchester Park. It's a particularly difficult one in terms of noise, with the highway along the eastern perimeter and the Blacktown Airport not 3 kilometres away to the north. Of course, those nearest the highway will be the worst hit, with heavy traffic noise as well as the noise from the light planes overhead. As you all know, the normal noise threshold for private housing is 55 decibels. At this site, the levels have been recorded as high as 67 decibels.
Questions 31 to 35. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 35.
Well, my group has been doing a project on how household waste is recycled in Britain. We were quite shocked to discover that only 9% of people here in the UK make an effort to recycle their household waste. This is a lower figure than in most other European countries and needs to increase dramatically in the next few years if the government is going to meet its recycling targets. The agreed targets for the UK mean that by 2008 we must reduce our carbon dioxide emissions by 12.5% compared with 1990. And recycling can help to achieve that goal in two main ways. The production of recycled glass and paper uses much less energy than producing them from virgin materials, and also recycling reduces greenhouse gas emissions from landfill sites and incineration plants. As part of our project, we carried out a survey of people in the street, and the thing that came up over and over again is that people don't think it's easy enough to recycle their waste. One problem is that there aren't enough drop-off sites, that is, the places where the public are supposed to take their waste. We also discovered that waste that's collected from householders is taken to places called bring banks for sorting and baling into loads. One problem here is taking out everything that shouldn't have been placed in the recycling containers. People put all sorts of things into bottle banks, like plastic bags and even broken umbrellas. All this has to be removed by hand. Another difficulty is that toughened glass used for cooking doesn't fully melt at the temperature required for other glass, and so that also has to be picked out by hand. Glass is easy to recycle because it can be reused over and over again without becoming weaker. 2 million tons of glass is thrown away each year. That is 7 billion bottles and jars. But only 500,000 tons of that is collected and recycled.
This is the end of the listening paper. Now you have 7 minutes to transfer your answers to your answer sheet. Be sure to follow the numbering of all the questions. I'll remind you when there's 1 minute left.